This is Mac OS Ken.
Institutional ownership of Apple is light. The chips are down, and so's the water. And 3 stories around Apple Car. It's Thursday, the 25th of February, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macosken. This show is also sponsored by Sunbasket, delivering oven-ready meals that are fast, fresh, and delicious. If your meal planning is in a rut, why not try something different with Sunbasket? Actually, try lots of different things with their fresh and ready meals. Every Sunbasket meal is filled with only premium quality real food, including organic fresh produce, antibiotic and hormone-free meats, and sustainably sourced seafood from suppliers they know and trust. And trust me when I tell you it tastes great. You can try a meal kit, like the Mojo tacos with salsa verde I tried recently, or the fresh and ready butter chicken with basmati rice pilaf, which I also tried recently. Lots to love about the fresh and ready meals, like the fact that all you have to do is heat and eat. And then there's the price, just $8.99, so they're good for your body and your budget. And you can try them for less. Right now, Sunbasket is offering $35 off your order when you go right now to sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken at checkout. That's sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken at checkout for $35 off your order. sunbasket.com/macosken and enter promo code macosken. Institutional ownership of Apple shares is near an all-time high, according to Morgan Stanley analyst Katie Huberty. But it is nowhere near enough in her estimation. Could be helpful at this point to find out what institutional ownership is. According to the site Investopedia, institutional ownership is the amount of a company's available stock owned by mutual or pension funds, insurance companies, investment firms, private foundations, endowments, or other large entities that manage funds on behalf of others. The site goes on to explain that once those institutions get into a company, they tend to stay there for a while. Not only does pulling shares out of circulation raise the value of shares outstanding, their decision to get in can lead other investors to do the same. Despite being near all-time highs, institutional ownership of Apple is still underweight, according to a note from Huberty to clients posted on Apple 3.0. The way she and hers see it, Apple is likely to see revenue growth of 22% in fiscal year 2021 and earnings per share growth of 36%. That's based on a few numbers that I wish I understood, but I sadly do not, and a few factors that I do think I do understand. Quoting her note, we continue to view Apple as well positioned to benefit from the convergence of 4 powerful market trends. 1, the growing adoption of 5G technology. 2, continued work, learn, and play from home demand. 3, the proliferation of wearable devices. And 4, increasing penetration and monetization of digital content and services. Now understand these are factors that will affect this fiscal year. Longer term, her note goes on to say, accelerating device installed base growth, faster services monetization, and expansion into new and adjacent markets support our view that Apple's ecosystem of products and services will sustain 10% annual revenue growth over the next 5 years. Huberty has an overweight rating on Apple shares. Her price target on the shares is $164. Have you heard about the semiconductor shortage? We talked about it here a couple of weeks ago. Bloomberg ran a piece warning that a worldwide chip shortage could wreak havoc on both the auto industry and electronics. According to that report, auto and electronics makers that cut back drastically in early days of the COVID-19 outbreak are now rushing to re-up orders, only to get turned away because chip makers are stretched to the max, supplying smartphone giants like Apple. At least Apple will be fine, right? Well, have you heard about the drought in Taiwan? According to a report from Apple Insider, Taiwan's central and southern regions are many months into a drought, which now sees reservoir levels below 20% of capacity. Technology firms, including Apple manufacturer TSMC, are making contingency plans following a year which featured little rainfall and no regularly expected typhoon. Because, the T in TSMC stands for Taiwan. Before the drought, it wasn't just COVID recovery that was squeezing suppliers. Apple Insider says the U.S.-China trade war under the Trump administration led a lot of chip production out of China and into Taiwan. So they were already maxed, and now no water. Or less readily available water. Perhaps you're thinking if there's no water, let them drink Coke. Yeah, it's not about the people, it seems, but the process. I found a Fast Company article from 2011 that talked about water so clean it would be dangerous to drink. According to the article, every day around the world, tens of millions of gallons of the cleanest water possible are created. Water so clean that it is regarded as an industrial solvent, absolutely central to high-tech manufacturing, but not safe for human consumption. The clean water, it's called ultra-pure water, is a central part of making semiconductors, the wafers from which computer microchips are cut for everything from MRI scanners to greeting cards. And that was 10 years ago when we only thought everything had chips in it. As for what's next, the report says the Taiwanese government is so far focused primarily on the damage to the country's auto industry. As for Apple's supply chain, TSMC is said to be bringing in water by the truckload. Literally. Apple Insider had a TSMC spokesperson telling Reuters that the company is making preparations for future water demand. According to the report, these preparations, which the spokesperson also described as a pressure test, involve ordering truckloads of water. The supply is being sent to TSMC's various facilities across the region. Hey, we will get to the part where people need water as well, right? Yeah, fingers crossed. Interesting news from Foxconn Wednesday that makes it look like a decent fit for Apple Car. Cult of Mac says the world's top contract manufacturer is teaming with boutique car maker Fisker to start shooting cars off the line. If you don't know Fisker, it's named after Henrik Fisker. He's designed cars for BMW, Aston Martin, and a couple of companies that have borne the Fisker name. Looks like somebody's trying to shake the whole boutique thing, though. According to the cult, Foxconn will manufacture the vehicle starting in 2023 at projected annual volumes of over 250,000. It will be sold under the Fisker name. So a high-end car maker is letting Foxconn put together its pieces and parts to the tune of 250,000 units a year. Makes one wonder whether Apple needs a Hyundai or a Nissan or even a BMW. That was the idea Bernstein analysts Tony Sacconaghi and Arndt Ellinghorst proposed Wednesday before the Foxconn Fisker report. Bloomberg had the two saying in a note, "In our view, BMW would be the ideal partner for Apple. Both companies have a leading innovation claim, superior brand equity and design, and are excellent in global manufacturing and value chain management." Of course, Apple and BMW might have the same problems Apple and Hyundai reportedly had. Is it an Apple car by BMW? An Apple BMW? Or is BMW just supposed to sit quietly and make the Apple car? Quoting Bloomberg, BMW might hesitate to invite a budding rival with deep pockets into the fold. Any Apple car will probably lure tech-savvy buyers of premium vehicles rather than drivers looking to get around in utilitarian rides. Traditional car makers will be very careful when exploring a manufacturing partnership with Apple, Bernstein said. Any manufacturer does not want to end up becoming a mere enabler for one of the world's largest and best financially equipped tech players. Now, one analyst weighed in on the Apple Car strategy yesterday, independent of the Foxconn and Bernstein stories. Philip Elmer DeWitt's Apple 3.0 ran part of a note from Piper Sandler analyst Harsh Kumar. The way he sees it, an Apple Car will be an Apple Car, not an operating system for another car maker and not an Apple edition from another car company. Quoting his note, "We feel an end-to-end Apple Car is the best option, where Apple controls everything from the design to the EV, AV, hardware, and software. As for why now is a good time to put Apple behind the wheel, he offers a couple of reasons. One, the automotive market is primed for technological innovation as autonomous and electric vehicles proliferate. And two, the company can use an additional multi-$100 billion total addressable market to drive growth as its other primary hardware segments reach maturity." Kumar has an overweight rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $160. More news in a moment, but first a word from Headspace. Meditation made simple. You know how meditation apps are supposed to help you relax? Yeah, Headspace is the first one that's actually done that for me. I've always felt like I was doing them wrong. Then one day, one of the guided meditations in Headspace said, "There's no right or wrong way to do this. There's no right way to breathe, and there's no right way to think. We're simply creating a greater awareness of how we breathe and how we think, and it begins by just being." No meditation app I've tried before has let me know that. Headspace's approach to mindfulness can reduce stress, improve sleep, boost focus, and increase your overall sense of well-being. And it'll keep you from feeling dumb while you do it. You deserve to feel happier, and Headspace is meditation made simple. Go to headspace.com/macOSKen. That's headspace.com/macOSKen for a free 1-month trial with access to Headspace's full library of meditations for every situation. This is the best deal offered right now. Head to headspace.com/macOSKen today. Apple's indoor mapping format has been adopted as an industry standard. A piece from iMore says Apple's indoor mapping data format, or IMDF, which the company uses to offer indoor maps through its Apple Maps service, has been adopted by the Open Geospatial Consortium as a community standard. Didn't Buckaroo Banzai fight the Geospatial Consortium? Apple tells developers and the people who employ them, indoor mapping data format lets you present your users with fully customized indoor maps of venues around the world, such as stadiums, airports, and campuses, all under the security and privacy controls of the property owner. Developed by Apple, IMDF makes it easy for organizations to enable Apple's indoor positioning service on iPhone and iPad inside facilities without installing additional infrastructure, like beacons. Israel appears to be moments away from Apple Pay. Mac Rumors highlights a report from the Israeli site The Verifier that puts the service a few days out. According to the piece, the report notes that Israeli mobile banking service Pepper recently updated its iPhone app with the release notes for the latest version mentioning a surprise that would be shared at a later time. Pepper may have accidentally jumped the gun, however, as the app briefly showed users a splash screen with an option to add the Pepper card to the wallet for use with Apple Pay. The screen is apparently no longer being shown. Oops. One Apple exec says there will not be a free ad-supported tier for Apple Music. I don't think anybody thought there was going to be, but a piece from iDownload blog says Apple's global senior director of music publishing, Elion Siegel, has made that crystal clear. As for why not, iDownload blog says the exec says that adopting a free tier for the music streaming service would go against our fundamental values on privacy, and said that tier would not generate enough revenue to support a healthy ecosystem. And finally today, the creatives behind the Apple TV Plus animated feature Wolfwalkers may have spilled the beans on an upcoming series. Mac Daily News did the Lord's work on Wednesday, reading through an incredibly long deadline interview and pulling out the pertinent part. The interview was with Wolfwalkers directors Tom Moore and Ross Stewart. Said Mr. Moore, "We have a big series for Apple TV that's not really announced, but it's epic because it's feature quality, hand-drawn animation across 12 half hours, and then a big hour-long special at the end, which is going to take a lot of work." If he were a hardware partner, Mr. Moore's public musing might cost him a contract. But he's not in hardware. He's in pictures. And Hollywood is built on buzz. It'll be interesting to hear what happens next. Hey, macOS Ken Live is going live again today, 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/KenRay. Be there when it happens or watch the replay there later. You can also grab the audio podcast. Look for macOS Ken Live wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Sunbasket. Get $35 off your order using promo code macOSKen at sunbasket.com/macOSKen. This show is also sponsored by Headspace. Meditation made simple. Get a free 1-month trial at headspace.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.